Hello and welcome to the Redmayne Halfway Hut podcast. It's the weekly podcast that discusses what as leaders we can learn from golf. So put up your feet, grab a coffee and join us in the Halfway Hut. I'm Jo Cameron, co-founder of Redmayne Group, which is all about leadership skills inspired by golf. And I'm joined by my partner in crime. Here he is, the co-founder as well of Redmayne, Julian Mellor.
Hello, Joe.
I thought you were doing it in Spanish.
Hola.
Reason for that. In today's podcast, we're going to be discussing how to control your emotions. Don't get upset. Both on the golf course and as emotionally intelligent leaders, because it's very important as an emotionally intelligent leader to be able to control your emotions. They're a bit like horses. So get them back under your control, not the other way around. So, Julian, we're going to kick off straight into it. Why is it important that you have control over your emotions during a round of golf?
In its simplest forms, you're going to end up with a better outcome.
Right.
If you start to get upset, uptight, temper tantrums on a golf course, you're not going to play that well. So it's really important to remain calm, level-headed, happy on a golf course, and you're going to get far better outcomes.
What about the other extreme, getting too excited? You know, like when you just thought, oh, God, I've just had a great hole.
I think they can. They're great to a point, but if you have too much adrenaline going through your body, you really struggle with what's called distance control. So sometimes you hit the ball a bit further than you want to. I've seen heard people hit it out of bounds because they've hit it too far because they're all pumped up, and before you know it, you've lost control again by being too excited. So in an ideal world, you really need to remain even.
Well, it's a good time to be talking about emotions, really, isn't it, in relation to golf? Because the Masters was on at the weekend.
Oh, wasn't it fantastic?
It was great, wasn't it?
Love the Masters.
Yeah, you were a bit excited, I must admit.
I was very excited.
But why is what's different about Sergio this time?
Sergio, it was his 70th round, a new love of his life. He's in a really happy place, and you could see that was shining through in his golf. And on hole, I think it was hole 13, it looked like he was going to blow it. He remained calm. They actually halved that hole where he could have gone another 2 shots behind. And 2 holes later, he eagled and got back to level with Justin Rose. And I haven't seen that calmness in Sergio ever.
So you really think that because he's in a happy place, like outside of golf, that's really having a positive effect on his golf?
Massively. Well, you only, if we think of an extreme example of Tiger Woods, when all the stuff came out in the media, he suddenly lost the edge and he was no longer a world beater just by standing on the tee. So, yeah, I think if you're in a happy place, you're 90% of the way there.
Yeah. It sort of puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's a Masters, isn't it? But,
Absolutely.
What was that famous quote that you said about it just being a game? Who was that? Remember he said that
Justin
one?
Rose, at the end of it. He says, we're out here, we're trying to beat each other, but at the end of the day, it's just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game.
It's no more.
But we all know, I know, how challenging the game of golf can be and how taxing on your emotions it can be. I was just thinking to myself, I remember when I first started playing, and I had a really bad round. Do you remember? I had to come home and spend 2 hours under the duvet, and you went, "Come on, catch a grip! It's only a game of golf."
Yeah,
but so often you judge yourself by your standard of your golf, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to put things in perspective. It's just a game of golf. But a famous president once said, if you want to know anything about a person, play 18 holes of golf with them, because every emotion will probably come out. So,
and I think that's why our programmes work, don't they, with the leadership stuff, because they do bring out emotions quite quickly, and then you can learn to train them and be aware of them. We're not saying that emotions are wrong. What we're saying about is be aware of your emotions and how they affect your your outcomes. I was just thinking, this week we've been at the Belfry again, which was fabulous, wasn't it?
Oh,
and we were getting our delegates on the leadership programme to have a think about how it affects their golf swing in a negative state of mind and a positive state of mind.
Yeah.
But I actually had a go as well, didn't I?
Well, the clever thing that we did was video each other.
Oh yeah.
So that because there's a thing in golf called feel and real, how it feels. And the reality in our case, the movement of the golf swing can be very different. And some of the people who were hitting shots couldn't believe how their body was moving.
Yeah.
So the video feedback was incredible.
The video was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, I did have some fun with mine because I experimented with being annoyed at the golf ball, and I did well at it.
But
But I could only
did
do
your
it
body
3
look?
times. I could, I was absolutely
Yeah.
shattered. But for me, actually, watching the video afterwards just made me laugh. So I think if ever I get in a negative state of mind again, I'm just going to watch the video because I look ridiculous. Like maybe if you could just video yourself.
It's off the scale, isn't it?
You look ridiculous. I mean, I was just laughing to myself.
I've seen so many clubs bent just through poor temper.
So, just to be aware of your own emotional state, when you're on a driving range, put your phone by, you video yourself, and give yourself some feedback, couldn't you?
That's going to help.
Yeah.
The reality is the practice ground is not the golf course.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
In an ideal world, you want one of your playing partners to video you in a bad mood on a golf course to learn from
and
it.
then you would see.
But then you'd probably throw the phone in the river.
You would just laugh at yourself, I think, because you look ridiculous. So what are your tips? So we're saying, try and remain as level-headed as you can on the golf course, because you don't want the swings in emotion. It makes it more erratic. You play more erratic. But there's that story, isn't it, about Bubba Watson, what he had to learn as well.
Well, we had the privilege of talking to Bubba Watson's caddy's best friend when he came over from the States. And what Bubba Watson had to learn, he was the most gifted golfer, natural ball striker, probably the world's ever seen. But he had massive range of emotion, so far too high and way too low. And what he learnt was to remain even. Now, when he won the Masters, probably 2-3 years ago, he hit this most incredible recovery shot out of trouble in a playoff, and he got it on the green, and he actually won the Masters. And at the very end, he broke into tears, and people were kind of laughing at it, a grown man crying. But what he'd done throughout the Masters is remain calm. And he'd learnt that skill, and it is a learned skill. It's not something you can just do. You've got to keep practicing it in as many ways as you can figure out. Go onto Google and how do I remain calm, and there's no one way of doing this.
Well, we were at Wednesday when we were at the Belfry. We were talking about physiology, because your physiology is basically your body systems. It's not like your anatomy, which is your actual physical body, but basically it's a combination of posture, breathing, thoughts and expressions.
Yeah.
So being aware of your physiology with those 3 things, reminding you there, the posture, the breathing, the thoughts and expressions. If you change some of those, you would change your emotional state. So if you're sitting down, you're going to feel more relaxed than if you stand up, for example, aren't you? If you're rapid breathing, you're going to get more anxious than if you're slow breathing.
Yeah.
And then if you've got negative thoughts going through your brain, like, I'm never going to get this out of here, out this bunker, you're less likely to be able to achieve that. And expressions as well are a key thing.
Yeah,
absolutely. Do you know, one of the ladies we were working with on Wednesday when we videoed her, I said, what was your body doing when you were in your negative state? And she said, I was scowling. And she was. She's got a real frown. So be aware of those, your posture, your breathing, your thoughts and expressions, because changing one of those will lift you up the scale a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And a quick tip for the golfers is quite often say, I don't want to go in the river, I don't want to go in the trees, don't want to go in there, and then your ball goes there.
Yeah.
What you must do is flip it and go, where do I want to hit it? Rather than adding the negative. So that's a really powerful thing. That can change your state. That can change your physiology.
I mean, the thing to do is just practice these things and see what
you have
happens.
to
Don't
practice.
take our word for it. Go on the driving range and do the don't thing and see what effect it has. Don't take our word for it. Experiment with it.
Definitely go and try it.
It just reminded me of our friend who's the world rally driving champion, and she
Oh,
said
God.
every time she thought don't hit the tree, she hit the tree.
Yeah.
She realised that. What's your other tip then to get it back in perspective about the day?
It's just so easy to remain bitter and angry and frustrated.
Yeah.
Try and walk it off. Walk it off very quickly. Tiger used to walk it off in 10 steps. But first off, be aware that being in a bad mood is going to affect performance, not just on the golf course, in life. So you have to learn a skill. Go out, get some fresh air, stand up tall.
But you've got a favourite saying in positive impact golf, haven't you? When it all goes wrong.
We call it, it's still a nice day. And I'll try and put this into words. So we'll hit a shot and it's a nice day, we're out, in the open air. We're probably on a nice venue. We're with friends. Hopefully the sun's shining. It's a nice day, and we hit a nice shot. And then what I do is demonstrate. I'll then say it's still a nice day. I'm still with my friends, and then I'll miss-hit a shot on purpose. And how I'll react to it is, well, it's only
Still
a
a
bad
nice
shot.
day.
It's still a nice
It's still
day.
a nice day.
And then quite often you'll carry that good mood onto the next shot, and you'll recover well from it. It's not
Yeah.
getting bogged down with that was a terrible shot. Now my mood's gone down.
Because
So
you could
it's
actually
still a nice
practice
day.
that on the driving range, couldn't you?
I do it all the time.
Deliberately hit a bad shot
Yeah.
and still go, it's a nice day.
Yeah.
Do you know what that actually does?
Tell me, Joe.
It improves your coping mechanisms.
Brilliant.
So you're more likely to go through life with a bit more of a positive attitude if you know that you can still remain objective about something.
Yeah.
When it goes wrong, you're more likely to experiment with things. So what we're saying here is practice your bad shots on the driving range and still go, it's still a nice day.
Practicing consistency.
Practice.
Because golf by nature is inconsistent.
Yeah,
so
it is.
so practice different things. Yeah, hit shots wrong on purpose and see how you react to it.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that's slightly false, but then you'll get into the habit on the golf course. If you hit a bad shot,
it's still a nice
still
day.
a nice day. And you know, people laugh
a
at
nice
that,
day.
but it's so memorable and
True,
so
isn't it?
powerful.
It is true. Because most of the time when you're playing golf, well, unless you're in the UK in the middle of the winter, they're usually a nice place where people put a lot of energy and attention in, haven't they?
Absolutely.
So why is this important to leaders as well? So we can see very quickly on the golf course if you're in a bad mood how it affects your golf, and if you get too excited, you're less likely to finish that putt, aren't you? You know, like say when we were experimenting the other day, and I was experimenting on the putting green, and and I got a hole a putt, and I got a bit excited. I thought I'm never going to get that in the hole if I'm excited. So you've also got to rein it back in the other way. But for leaders, controlling your own emotions is part of something called emotion intelligence. Now, if you've never heard of what emotion intelligence is, EI, it's the ability to monitor your own and other people's emotions so you can discriminate between different emotions and label them appropriately. Because leadership is basically an emotional thing these days, because people pick up on your emotional cues, don't they? In fact, they say after 10 minutes, if you're the boss, somebody will pick up on your physiology.
Well, they'll start mirroring it.
Yeah. What we said, physiology was your posture, your breathing, your thoughts and expressions. So if you're more optimistic, then your team are more likely to do that. But emotional intelligence is monitoring yours and other people's emotions and knowing what the difference is. So there's lots of different models of emotional intelligence. But one of the most well-known ones is one by Daniel Goleman, and he's got 6 principles. And the second principle of being an emotionally intelligent leader is self-regulation or control, which involves controlling or redirecting your disruptive emotions and impulses and adapting to changing circumstances.
Brilliant. I mean, so often people aren't aware of themselves.
No.
And,
But we're not saying emotions are a bad thing. We're not saying experience
they're good
emotions.
things.
What we're saying is be aware of them, be aware how they're controlling your behaviour, and be aware how they're influencing your team's behaviour as well.
Absolutely. Or a home life even.
Yeah, home
You
life.
know, it goes everywhere.
Yeah. And there's never any guarantee.
No.
You know, because you'll always find people that say, "Oh, I got up in a terrible mood and had a great round of golf." It's not an exact science. What we're saying is just experiment with a good mood and a bad mood, and see what happens to your golf. Really, see what happens to your life in general. I think.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, if you're struggling with this, book in on one of our days and let's show you how to do it.
Yeah, come and do
definitely.
it. But we had a little bit of a nice week, because I was just thinking, we were up at the Belfry, thinking about people doing really nice things and in a good mood. We had the opportunity, didn't we, to meet with the head greenkeeper at the Belfry the other day.
What fantastic.
Angus McClure. What a fantastically positive, uplifting, inspiring man. He was amazing, wasn't he?
He's absolutely at the top of his game.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't.
Top 5 in the country, in at the Belfry.
Yeah, it's a brilliant place, but you realise the detail that goes on at the background to make it such a brilliant place. And Angus, his bank of knowledge is unbelievable.
Well, our delegates were absolutely fascinated, weren't they? Because we
You
wanted to
just
bring in
listen
a
to him all
different
day.
speaker, didn't we? Because we were at the Belfry.
Yeah.
And he was just so inspiring about his own personal story as well, and how knowledgeable he was, how he leads the team.
Yeah.
He was amazing. So we're going to do a podcast with him, hopefully, aren't we? Coming up, anyway.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
But ultimately, he's passionate about what he does, and that comes over.
Yeah. Oh, he was brilliant, didn't he? But he looked the part, sounded the part, was the part. He was just absolutely brilliant, wasn't he? Yeah. We had half an hour with him, didn't we?
We
It
did.
went like that. And we could have spent a whole... And we're actually next to the halfway house, they call it, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Had some nice... It was a bit cold, though, wasn't it? Can we order some sunshine for next time, please?
Yes, please.
But what else has happened this week? We've also got the launch as well, coming up at another golfing venue in the UK, the Boutique golf course at the Arden Cote.
That's
so we
going
went
to
there,
be that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it's
lovely,
really good, isn't it?
A lovely venue, great conference facilities, perfect facilities with what we're going to do with the golf.
Yeah.
And there's a nice little spa there for people who want to spend
And
a
then
bit of time
hot
afterwards.
tub.
Yeah,
So that's coming up on the 30th of June, I think. So look out on the website for it. If you want to come, you can email us at info@redmaingroup.com. Or check us out on the web, www.redmaingroup.com. Or if you can find us on social media, Julian Mellor Pro on Twitter, I'm Joe Cameron on Twitter. We've got Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it, we're all over the place. We're not hiding away from you. So, what else have we got on next week? Oh, this weekend is bank holiday weekend, which is nice, isn't it? We're going to have a bit of time out, put our feet up, have a rest, spend some time with the little one. She's been away. She's been away for a couple of days, hasn't she? She's been really quiet.
She's coming back today,
so we're really looking forward to having her back. She's been away with her granddad. So that'll be nice. And then we might do a bit of cycling around the old... one of the old nature parks coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be brilliant.
But remember, last time you went a bit quick. It's not a race. It's a family day out.
Yeah, I'll walk. You can go.
Yeah, well, you probably walk faster than I can cycle anyway. But before we go, what's your golf tip of the week?
Golf tip of the week. Complete your finish.
Yeah.
Hold it until the ball lands. This will heighten your awareness of balance and body movement.
Say it again, what is it? Your golf tip of the week?
Complete your finish. Remain in balance. Hold it until the ball lands.
How many seconds is that?
Around about 6 seconds. And that gives you time for all the feedback to come from the ball strike. Gives you time. You need that little bit of time. Most people hit a shot and then it's all done and dusted, but hold it until the ball lands. In other words, turn into a poser.
Yeah.
That's really good.
You're good at this, you are.
Yeah, it's good for golf.
You are good at this. Well, hope you've enjoyed our little podcast here with the Redmayne Halfway Hut. I'm Joe Cameron and he's Julian.
It's been a pleasure.
Say bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend. And as I say, as always, if you want to contact us, it's info@redmaingroup.com. Send us your questions and we can read them out on air.
Easter.
Happy. Oh, yeah. Don't eat all the Easter eggs. Have a lovely day. Bye.